Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. It's Jeffro here from Almost a Gimmick, and we're gonna be doing our Monday Night Raw review tonight. Well, this afternoon from last night, the July 7th episode, which was more so a build-up towards a mix of Evolution and Saturday night's main event. So, as far as like matches go, we didn't really have a lot of content, but without any further ado, let's get on into it. So, of course, opening segment, we all knew this was going to happen. Seth Rollins music hits, and here he comes on his way to the ring with his Coronis. And now he did come out again, just the constant crowd, not knowing if they should cheer or boo. It feels like nowadays, but again, he got a huge face ovation basically this entire time. And once it was time to talk, that's when Braun Breaker stepped forward and kind of took the mic from him. And basically, he's just calling out Sami Zayn and all the things that he would like to do to him. And, well, he would come apart that later. Again, everyone kind of looked surprised of him just, like, taking the mic away. But it was a great promo. And then it gets handed back to Seth Rollins, who then offers his microphone over to Big Bronson Reed, who, even though he admits it's hard to follow a promo like Braun Breaker's, he did have a good one of his own, which he weirdly referenced about, showing how tough he is because he was able to take out Seth Rollins with multiple tsunamis, which was kind of ironic, and I don't know how Seth felt about that one, but I actually kind of thought it was pretty funny, but at the same time, it's almost like kind of like a heelish thing to do to another heel, but I liked it. He's kind of newer with the promos and stuff like that. He doesn't really get a lot of screen time. But I think it was a decent promo, and then gives it back to Rollins. And then, well, we pass it on over to, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And then after a bunch of honey boo boo later, he basically told us that not only is the Empire going to strike back, but the Empire is going to strike first, which is the point of the Architects' plan. You don't want to be reactive. They're going to be proactive on what they're doing. I thought it was pretty cool. He ripped out some Spanish talking about Penta, which was kind of comical, and I couldn't understand any of it. But it was actually a pretty good introduction promo from all of them. Rollins didn't say anything, basically. But yeah, without any further ado, we go to the back with the Judgment Day, and we kind of have like a ceremony put up for Liv Morgan, and Raquel Rodriguez was not very thrilled by it, which again, I thought it was, I kind of thought it was cool on both sides. I like what they did, kind of like the burial of her, and then Raquel, playing the fence of, best friend, but at the same time, doing what's best for the Judgment Day. And yeah, her and Roxanne, you can see the tension still there, obviously, but you can just see the writing on the wall of where this is going. And honestly, I know we're like basically repeating the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, but we are doing it uniquely for the most part. I do enjoy it. I just hope that we don't end up with just another repetitive, like 7-month feud now between these two, and then just bring back Rhea. So I think this was a great segment. Do this with Roxanne still, but I'm liking it so far. But then everyone walks away. Dirty Dom is all alone, and who is hiding in the clubhouse? That's right, it's AJ Styles. And of course, all we get from Dominic is, hey, I got papers, you can't fight me. But AJ is living in his head, not even just rent-free. Like, it is, like, the door is wide open. He is right there, living in his head. I love it. I think this is going to be one heck of a match for these two. It was kind of sad we didn't get to see it at Night of Champions, but I believe we're probably going to be seeing it Saturday night's main event. I don't exactly remember, but it has to be, I'm assuming so. And then, after all this, we finally get into a match, and we have Kairi Sane taking on Roxanne, and honestly, for the most part, it was a pretty good match. We see them trade a bunch of surprise roll-up after surprise roll-ups, but overall, they seem to have decent chemistry together. The match flowed pretty well. There wasn't like abundance of Raquel Rodriguez interference until towards the end. But at one point, Kairi was going to the top rope, and Raquel did distract her and kind of a little bit, But ultimately, Kairi Sane would end up winning in a surprise roll-up, which I found pretty cool. And then Raquel Rodriguez came in. They just tag team took her out. But then, of course, Asuka comes to the rescue. Kabuki Warriors reunite. And that led into the segment of finding out that they will be in the tag team gauntlet, basically, as it were, at Evolution. So, kind of weird, in my opinion, to like throw a tag team into it without actually earning their spot. But I mean, there's a lack of tag teams, especially on the women's side. So honestly, seeing the Kabuki Warriors as that tag team I have no complaints. So overall, it was an okay match. Like I said, it didn't seem to be super overdone with the interference. There was just like one little subtle hint. And yeah, so overall, I liked the segment. I thought it was good. He was Sami Zayn. You know, he had his bruised ribs and that from the attacks. Not really too much to say. He mainly said, you know, I'm not focused on Cross. He's in the past. Worry about that dog, Braun Breaker. And that's what he's going to focus on tonight. He walks away, and Scarlett kind of like, all like suspiciously walks up behind and then doesn't really say anything. And then they move on. It was kind of weird. And then they're having an interview with American Made and basically talking about El Grande Americano, how he can't have a match, and they were kind of confused. And, you know, why are you confused? And then Brutus is kind of like, well, because, you know, Chad Gable can't, if Chad Gable's hurt, then, you know, El Grande can't wrestle. And then Adam Pearce is, you know, why would that be? But they were able, Ivy was able to hold him back a little bit and, you know, try and not let him go into conspiracy theories of his own, because we already know that between Michael Cole and all these other blasphemy people trying to say Chad Gable has been El Grande Americano, like I said, we'll be able to put that to rest later in the night. Then we had a Nikki Bella promo, which, again, this was mid. I mean, I'm not really a big Nikki Bella fan, so it's more so her saying that she's going to be in the Battle Royal. You know, she wants to, you know, write some more stories, so it did its thing. Like I said, it's not really for me as much. I don't want to see an old veteran, you know, that's just going to part-time it up, take over. There's so many, like, so much young talent in the women's division that there's no reason to be wasting a winner in a future title spot on Nikki Bella, in my opinion. And finally, we get into a second match after all of this happened. And it was Sami Zayn versus, oh yeah, and oh wait, Sami got taken out. By a pipe. By Karrion Kross. Yeah. And basically said he is here to stay. And then, as planned, the match would end up going on because Sami Zayn refuses to stay down, goes against Braun Breaker, and well, it was all Braun Breaker. At one point, Sammy Hogan did Hulk up for a little bit, but jumps off the top rope, gets hit with a spear, gets hit with a super spear outside the ring, and another one inside the ring. That was easy. 1, 2, 3, count it up. We did have a promo after, which I kind of actually missed, and I actually caught it afterward. Karrion Kross had one with Scarlett in the stands, going by what just happened. And man, the We Want Kross chants, which is going to be a separate video, man, they were blasting for that man. And you love to see it, so we're going to be excited what to see. And he basically told Sami Zayn, listen, I'm going to be a thorn in your side. I ain't going nowhere until you admit that I was telling the truth. So we shall see when it gets to that. And then the Viking Raiders randomly showed back up again. War Raiders showed up again, just to say that they're next. And then the New Day, they came out and like just straight up black gowns, basically mourning the loss of their championships and letting, you know, Adam Pearce know that it wasn't fair how they just let the Judgment Day just get extra title shots and walk away. But then the War Raiders did use their own thing against them, that, you know, they need to have new champions to defend. So we'll see how that passes. But as I was finished up, though, I loved it. Becky Lynch walked by, acknowledged the New Day, said that, you know, that she was mourning with them, and she was proud of what they did to Big E. So maybe the storyline's not dead, but honestly I think it is, which, again, that's another video that will be coming out that hopefully you'll be excited for. And it was the night of promos, because then we had Becky, Bayley, and Lyra, and it was just basically a high school drama getting together, you know. who made mad who ignored who, yada 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 yada. You could tell Lyra was starting to get really worked up in that, and kind of not. She's becoming more of like a forceful baby face, it feels like, with it. And I don't think she's gonna win at Evolution, but I definitely think that her being in this role with Bayley and Becky is definitely gonna elevate her and make her a lot better on the mic and just in general as a wrestler. Of course, then in the back, Braun Breaker, he's just ticked off because, you know, Karrion Kross softened up Sami Zayn, so he feels like, you know, it wasn't what he was supposed to do. But, you know, that's all good. So then kind of, as Bronson was getting in on it, Rollins reminded him that Jey Uso was still walking and he needed to fix that. So we'll cross that bridge also when we get there. But it was kind of a weird segment. Honestly, it didn't really need to be there, to be completely honest, but whatever. And then, main event, Jey Uso taking on Bronson Reed, speaking of which, and well, it was a kind of an exciting beginning of the match. It wasn't too bad, but Bronson Reed would just chuck a chair at Jey Uso, and when he was trying to go fly out of the ring. So that obviously disqualified him, and then a couple, like literally only 2 tsunamis later, he kind of walked off. So it didn't really hit because I think they only wanted to do 2 because they didn't want to write him off, but it kind of seemed mid, honestly, and I kind of hated it, to be completely honest with you. Then we had a quick little LA night calling out Seth Rollins. Again, this was a night of promos and video packages, because then after that we had Rhea and Io. Rhea, you know, never beat Io one-on-one. So, I mean, there's that. So, again, a couple of mid-segments, to be honest with you. But then, honestly, the best thing of the night, El Grande Americano, not Chad Gable, came out for a match. And this is when we got to see that physique, that really working that physique. Love to see it. He got in a lot better shape, you know, took some weight off, and it makes him look taller. It's quite crazy. He did have a match against Dragon Lee, and well, we all know who is going to win this one. Sorry for the random background change. Yeah, my phone overheated, and it took a while to get back to this. But anyway, as I was saying, of course, we knew that El Grande Americano was going to win because, I mean, like I said, he's just in so much more superb shape. Unfortunately, lots of it was ruined by Michael Cole just spewing all these conspiracy theories again about Chad Gable, who's not here, but that's beating a dead horse at this point because, yeah, it's not Chad Gable, clearly. It is a legendary luchador, and ultimately would win with a perfectly legal headbutt with no mask adjustments or nothing inside the mask whatsoever. So, call that a win for El Grande Americano. And then a quick little segment in the back, Penta and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman started talking Spanish to Penta. No idea what anyone was saying. Braun spoke our minds, says, I have no idea exactly what you're saying, but don't harass the wise man. Like, just don't do that. And yeah. Gunther comes out, and this time Goldberg's actually here. They confront each other, yada, yada, yada. It was kind of, you know, standard build-up, big guy versus big guy. And Goldberg slapped the mic right out of his hand, says, you know, let's go, hit me. And counters him quick, hits him once. But when he goes for the spear, Gunther does roll out of the ring. So just continuing to set up Saturday night's main event. Again, nothing special, just did what it needed to do, which was most of the show, to be honest with you. So overall, that was good. And finally, onto the main event, Seth freaking Rollins versus Penta. And honestly, the match itself was alright. It wasn't super crazy or anything like that, but it was alright. He did come out by himself, which I liked, instead of, you know, having his henchmen there, which actually factored in towards the end. At one point, though, Seth Rollins did go for a frog splash and did the, you know, Penta's yada-da, whatever he says. And that was pretty cool. But after that, Penta ends up going crazy, hits the Penta driver, Seth Rollins kicks out, and then they kept going back and forth a little while. Penta did hit this Mexican Destroyer coming off of Seth Rollins throwing him a buckle bomb, which was absolutely insane for the 1-2-ooh. But after that, Rollins headbutts him with the low blow, and hits the curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Calls out the dogs. But on their way out, LA Knight appears, hits the BFT on Seth Rollins, sneaks away. That's how the show ends. Again, just continuing to set up Saturday night's main event, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. And again, I give the show overall a 7 out of 10. It did what it needed to do. Didn't do anything crazy special or whatnot. But overall, enjoyed the show. But this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. But as always, have an awesome day. Peace.